Good morning, welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be going over 5 best potential investments for Shadowlands. Now just stick around and enjoy the video. Now when it comes to investments towards a new expansion, I find that a lot of people throw out a load of different types of materials, i.e. myself as well included with that, but I've actually simmered it down into a few different types of things that you should probably look into on your server specifically and see if it's a good investment for yourself. But overall, doing these types of things at the moment when a lot of the items are actually quite low in value, it will probably most likely shoot up, and these ones I think are going to be the best potential investments for Shadowlands when it comes to after the expansion has actually released. That being the case, let's get into number 1, which is the Abyssal Fragment. Now, if you don't know, the Abyssal Fragments are actually an item in which you can actually farm up when it comes towards BFA, and it's an item in which you need 20 of these to actually get a mount. Now these items are only really mainly quite saturated at the moment. That is because a load of people are doing BFA content, but as soon as BFA content actually starts to simmer down, most of these items will actually be quite scarce when it comes towards that, and a lot of mount farmers may actually opt for buying them instead of actually farming them up themselves. This is because they have a lower drop chance than anything, and at the moment, because a lot of people are doing BFA content, when it comes towards those types of mobs in which they actually drop them, we'll probably see the price of those fragments going up in price. Hence why I'm actually stockpiling a load of these in order to actually sell on the auction house at a later date when they have all actually ran out. So Abyssal Fragments most definitely will probably go up in price after a few months after Shadowlands release, and once the supply starts to dwindle. This is where you should probably come in with your supply and actually start selling them at a higher markup, and people will most likely actually buy them because they're locked behind a mount, and some people don't actually want to farm these up because they take a bloody long time to farm up. So hence why I've actually put the Abyssal Fragments, because it's locked behind a mount, so to speak. So that's why I've actually put that as a good investment, because a lot of people like mounts, and some collectors will actually pay a pretty penny for the premium of having it near on instantaneously when it comes towards that. So, that being the case, let's jump into number 2, which is the Pack Mule and the GOLDENMANE Reins. Now, I wanted to say 2x4 farming, but I knew that would sound really mediocre, so to speak. So I've actually narrowed it down to the higher priced mounts. Now, obviously, you do have like the Reins, the Blood Feaster. If you don't have a lot of gold, you can invest in that. But it's mainly the BOE mounts that actually drop from BFA. Now, a lot of people are actually farming these at the moment, and the prices have actually gone down quite considerably. In the future, when a lot of people aren't actually farming this up or actually doing a lot of these farms for these BOE mounts, we're going to see a sharp increase on how much these actual mounts will actually cost. Now, the rarest one at the moment is most likely the Terrified Pack Mule, as that's the one that sells for the most of gold. So if you do have the gold, I would invest in the Terrified Pack Mule. If not, then go farm it and try and see if you can get hold of it. Bear in mind that the drop chance is very, very low. But the GOLDENMANE Reins is another one that you could also invest in as well, which actually can sell for a pretty penny on the auction house. This is due to the fact that these mounts are actually quite low in drop chance, they're very hard to get hold of, and because a lot of people are doing BFA content at the moment, it's easier to get a hold of them because a lot of people are actually doing them, so there's a higher supply on the auction house. When that supply starts to dwindle, when everyone's doing Shadowlands content, you will start to see the prices of those BOE mounts to go up because of the drop chance and the less people actually farming these. So that's why I think it will be a good investment to actually invest in the GOLDENMANE Reins and the Terrified Pack Mule. Now, coming in at number 3, and something that I've actually been pondering on quite a bit, and that's the Glorious Leg Plates. Due to the level squish when it comes towards like getting a hold of these different types of items, this is probably the one that I'm probably going to be investing in a few of these, because I don't know how the actual loot table is actually going to change, because predominantly you want to go to like a level 60 zone such as like Silithus, or you want to go to Zul'Farrak, the one that is in Tanaris, actually farm these items up, and this is for the Glorious Leg Plates. Now, everyone knows in the gold making community that the Glorious Leg Plates are one of the pinnacle items, or the most well-known item that sells for a hefty amount of gold if you can get a hold of them. This is because that the drop chance is so low, and just it's not mainly due to the fact that it's just the drop chance that gives it its value. For my prediction on this potential investment, and that is mainly due to the level squish. We don't know how these actual items are going to drop, if they're going to be infrequent as possible, because we actually saw this with like Cataclysm when a load of things were like revamped. We saw a load of different types of items not actually dropping anymore when it comes to different types of BOE items, and then they started to skyrocket in price. So this one is more of a risky one, so I will preface this right now and say that. But the Glorious Legplates is something you may want to ponder on due to like the level squish, because we don't know how the loot table is going to adjust for that, and it could very well mean that the Glorious Legplates could even take even longer for them to drop, or they could be more frequent. So it's a very risky one to actually invest in for potential gold, but it's something I'm going to do nonetheless because they seem to be a very good seller. They hold their value very well over expansions, and usually they go up in price at the beginning of a new expansion, looking over all of the additional data for those. So it's something to bear in mind and probably put your gold into if you really wanted to actually see a return, if you were willing to take that risk. Now, coming in at number 4 is the plans for the Arcanite Reaper. Due to the new crafting things for the relics of the past and scalability for different types of old items, I'm actually going to go out on a limb and say that the plans for the Arcanite Reaper is probably something that you probably should be actually stockpiling at this moment in time. Now, I wouldn't say stockpile as in like a stupid amount, but maybe have like around about like 10 of these plans just on the off night. So like not a stupid amount of a stockpile, but a fair amount, so to speak. Now, this is because they're going to be used for crafting and scaling, and the Arcanite Reaper in the past was a really good item when it came to like vanilla, and it was one of the best items going. So what I'm actually thinking about right now is if that's scaled upwards to better levels, it's actually probably going to upgrade those stats. And if it was a really good item when it was in vanilla, it's probably a good idea to actually have some of these plans stockpiled, and also have that plan on your blacksmith in order to craft and scale and sell. And due to that happening, it would actually increase the price of the plans, so to speak. So I think it would be a really good idea when it comes towards those plans, as they're super cheap at the moment, because like most people know how to farm them. All you have to do is go to Lower Blackrock Spire and kill Bannock Grimax, and you have like a 10% chance of getting those things. I think it's like 10%, but those plans are super easy to get a hold of, and it takes like near on no time at all, like 10 minutes per hour or something to that effect when it comes to all of that farming. Archveld actually has a great video on how to actually do this farm, so if you wanted to start farming this, then I would go over to his channel and check it out. Other than that, that is pretty much all I have to say for that one. I just have a really gut feeling about this one when it comes towards like scalability, and I'm really proper going crazy over this, so I wanted to put this one in there. Coming in at number 5 and last on our list is Vial of the Sands. Now, as you well know, a lot of people have been farming Vial of the Sands recently, i.e. myself is included, and overall we've actually seen quite a drop in the price for Vial of the Sands overall, due to the fact that a load of people are actually farming up the materials, which makes it actually cheaper to craft, because there's so much of a supply, the price actually goes down, and that means that the Vial of the Sands will actually start losing a bit of gold. Currently, it's averaging anywhere from like 40,000 gold up to like 60,000 gold. On some realms it's higher, but at the moment on a lot of higher pop servers, they're actually not selling for an awful lot of gold. This is where I would suggest actually coming into this and actually being like, okay, so we can have a look at that and be like, okay, being like, okay, we can see that the Vial of the Sands is not doing so well at the moment when it comes to gold wise. But for purchasing power, you do have the option of buying out a load of these ones that a load of people have actually crafted for cheap, and then wait for the next expansion and then resell that for like a 20,000 gold uptick on top of that, and make some gold back at the beginning or a few months after Shadowlands release. Now I tend to do this with a lot of rare mounts like the OE ones because the prices of mounts actually usually go up when it comes towards a new expansion, and I find this to be a great investment overall when it comes towards new expansions and all that jazz, because everyone's focused upon like the Shadowlands and all that stuff, and all of the other stuff starts to go up in price, and subsequently the mounts go up in price as well. So that's something that I would take care to take in mind as well when it comes towards the crafted mount of the Vial of the Sands. Other than that, guys, that is pretty much what I think are 5 best potential investments when it comes towards gold making. Have an awesome rest of the day, and I shall see you in the next video, which will be tomorrow.